Hey, English learners, welcome back to the English Daily Podcast, your cozy place to learn simple English through real-life conversations, useful vocabulary, and gentle motivation. I'm John.
And I'm Sarah. John, before we jump into our usual routine today, can I ask you a question that might sound a little personal?
Of course, although your questions always make me stop, take a deep breath, and really think about my answer.
Good. That's exactly what I want. I love when we get to slow down and reflect together. So here's today's big question. When was the last time you felt truly, deeply happy?
That's actually a much more difficult question than it sounds at first. Because when you ask me that, the very first things that come to my mind are the big, dramatic life moments. Things like going on a long vacation, celebrating birthdays, graduating from university, getting a new job, or reaching a huge personal achievement. I guess I usually connect real happiness with something massive happening in my life.
Interesting. But what if that's where we make a huge mistake in our daily lives? What if we spend so much of our energy and time waiting for those huge, rare moments that we completely forget to notice the small ones happening right under our noses? Think about it, John. How many times in your life have you said the sentence, "I'll be happy when"?
Oh, way too many times. I think we all do it without even realizing it. I'll be happy when I get promoted at work. I'll be happy when I earn more money. I'll be happy when my English is completely fluent. I'll be happy when life simply becomes easier and less stressful. It feels like our happiness is constantly moving into the future, like a finish line in a race that keeps moving further away every time you get close to it. So, what are we diving into today, Sarah?
Today, we're talking about hope, but not the loud kind of hope that arrives with fireworks, big celebrations, or massive announcements. We're talking about the quiet, gentle hope that is hidden inside ordinary, everyday moments. If you've been feeling a bit tired lately, discouraged by your progress, or like life has become a little too heavy to carry, this episode is written especially for you.
I really think this is going to be one of our most beautiful conversations yet. And don't worry at all about the difficulty level. This is a B1 to B2 level episode, so if you're an intermediate learner, it is designed just right for you. Even if you're a strong A1 or A2 learner, please don't feel nervous. You definitely don't need to understand every single word or complex grammar structure to get value from this episode. Just sit back, relax, listen to the rhythm of the language, and enjoy the conversation with us.
Exactly. Maybe you're having your morning breakfast right now, walking your dog in the park, driving home through heavy traffic, or simply taking a quiet tea break in your living room. Wherever you are in the world right now, we are truly happy and grateful that you are spending these next few minutes with us here on the English Daily Podcast. So let's begin our deep dive. John, have you noticed how almost everyone around us constantly lives in that "I'll be happy when" mindset?
Yes, absolutely. I think I've said it hundreds of times throughout my life without even thinking. I'll be happy when I lose 5 kilos, when I buy a bigger house, when I travel abroad, when I retire, or when my English grammar becomes totally perfect. The real problem with that way of thinking is that there is always, without fail, another when waiting right around the corner.
Exactly. One goal disappears after you work hard to reach it, and immediately another goal takes its place. It's like exhausting yourself climbing up a massive mountain, only to reach the top and discover there's an even bigger mountain sitting right behind it. When I was younger, I honestly thought happiness would arrive all at once in one big package. Like one magical day would come along and everything in my life would finally make sense and be perfect.
And how do you feel about that idea now?
Now, I'm not so sure anymore. In fact, I think real happiness is much quieter and far more subtle than that. Can I tell you about something very simple that happened to me yesterday morning?
Of course, I'd love to hear it.
Absolutely nothing exciting happened yesterday on paper. I didn't win a prize, I didn't go on a trip, and I didn't achieve any huge career goal. But early in the morning, I made myself a warm cup of coffee, opened my kitchen window, and felt the cool morning air on my face while listening to the birds singing in the trees outside. For just a few minutes, everything felt completely calm and peaceful. Then I had this sudden realization. If I had been too busy worrying about my schedule or stressing about the future, I would have missed that beautiful moment entirely.
That is so true, Sarah. That actually reminds me of something very similar that happened to me just last week. I was walking home after a long, exhausting day at work. Honestly, I was feeling down, my feet hurt, and my head was completely full of problems and work deadlines. I wasn't paying any attention to my surroundings at all. But then, for some reason, I randomly looked up at the sky. It was painted in these incredible shades of bright orange, deep pink, and warm gold. One of the most breathtaking sunsets I had seen in months.
Wow, that sounds amazing. What did you do when you saw it?
I literally stopped walking right there on the sidewalk for about 2 full minutes. I didn't pull out my phone to take a picture for social media. I didn't think about my job, and I didn't check my emails. I just stood there, quietly, and looked at the sky. And when I asked myself how I felt afterward, the word was peaceful. It was strange. My everyday problems hadn't magically disappeared, but for a brief moment, they became much quieter and less overwhelming.
I think that is the exact definition of what hope looks like in real life. It's not about instantly solving all your life's problems with a magic wand. It's simply a gentle reminder that beauty, peace, and good things still exist all around us. But, John, why do you think we miss these small, quiet moments so often in our busy daily lives?
I think it's because our minds are constantly moving fast and looking ahead into the distance. We're always thinking about what we have to do tomorrow, worrying about what might happen next week, or frantically planning for next year. And while our minds are busy living in the future, today quietly passes us by unnoticed. The sad part is that sometimes today contains the exact feeling of peace or joy that we've been searching for all along. Hope feels different from happiness in that way. Happiness can feel loud and exciting, but hope feels gentle, quiet, and almost invisible.
I love how you described that, John. Hope doesn't need to arrive with loud music or big applause. Sometimes hope arrives as a warm smile from a stranger on the bus, an unexpected phone call from an old friend, a delicious home-cooked meal, a pretty sunset, or even the small feeling of accomplishment you get after finishing today's English lesson.
I was really hoping you would mention finishing an English lesson.
Of course I had to. But seriously, maybe we've been looking for hope in all the wrong places. Maybe hope has been walking quietly right beside us this whole time, and we just haven't paused long enough to notice it.
That leads me to an interesting thought. Do you think hope is something that just randomly happens to us, something we find, or is it something we have to actively build ourselves?
I honestly think it's a mix of both. Sometimes a moment of hope finds us completely by surprise, but most of the time we have to create it ourselves, little by little, day by day. Think about how a sunrise works in nature. It doesn't just instantly flash into full daylight in 1 second. First, the sky gets just a tiny bit brighter, then a little warmer, and before you even realize what's happening, the entire world around you is completely filled with light. Hope works in that exact same way, quiet, patient, and gentle. It doesn't need to shout to announce its arrival. It simply appears.
That is a stunning comparison, Sarah. I used to think that having hope meant forcing yourself to believe that every single thing in your life was going to turn out completely perfect. But now, as I get older, I think hope is simply believing that even if today was tough or imperfect, tomorrow still holds the potential to be a little bit better. Hope doesn't promise us an easy, problem-free life. It simply whispers in your ear, keep going, don't give up.
Can you share a time when you had to rely on that quiet whisper, John? I know you had busy seasons recently.
Absolutely. A few months ago, I was having one of those awful weeks where everything just felt frustratingly difficult. Nothing catastrophic happened, but absolutely nothing came easily either. I felt completely drained, unmotivated, and a bit lost. So after finishing work one evening, I put on my shoes and decided to go for a long walk outside. I didn't go out to get intense exercise. I just desperately needed to clear my mind.
And what happened on your walk? Did you find what you were looking for?
Nothing dramatic or movie-like happened at all, but as I walked through the neighborhood, I saw neighborhood kids playing football in the park. A little girl laughing hysterically while playing with her dad, an elderly couple holding hands on a bench, and regular people just going about their lives with smiles on their faces. Seeing that made me feel strangely lighter inside. It was a simple reminder that despite my personal stress, life was still moving forward, and there was still so much warmth, laughter, and kindness in the world.
Sometimes that's truly all we need, just a small, gentle reminder that there is still good in the world. Have you ever stopped to notice how easily children find pure happiness in the simplest things? You can give a young child a plain cardboard box from a delivery, and within 2 minutes, their mind turns it into a giant spaceship, a medieval castle, or a pirate ship. Their sense of wonder and imagination is incredible because they pay attention to small details. As adults, we often stop looking for magic in the world around us.
I couldn't agree more. Growing up shouldn't mean we have to lose our sense of wonder and appreciation for the small things. In fact, when I reflect on my own life, some of my absolute favorite memories aren't the expensive vacations or the big accomplishments. They're surprisingly ordinary moments. Cooking a quiet dinner at home, watching the rain pour down outside while staying warm indoors, laughing so hard with close friends that my stomach actually hurt, reading a great book on a lazy Sunday afternoon, or sitting right here in this studio recording these episodes for the English Daily Podcast.
Aw, that is so sweet, John. I'm so glad recording this podcast with me made your list of favorite memories. But you're so right. We spend so much of our precious energy waiting for rare, extraordinary moments that we forget our actual lives are built out of thousands of ordinary, tiny moments happening every single day.
Exactly. Life isn't made of just 5 or 10 huge milestones. It's made of all the small moments in between. And those tiny moments deserve our full presence and attention.
Sarah, let me ask you a question that I think a lot of our listeners might be asking themselves right now. What if someone listening to our voices today feels like they have completely lost their sense of hope? What advice would you give them?
I would tell them with all my heart, please don't force yourself to look for one giant, miraculous sign that everything is going to be perfectly fine right away. Instead, just look for one tiny reason to keep going forward today. Just focus on one smile, one warm conversation, one nice cup of coffee, one page of an inspiring book, or one short English lesson. Sometimes focusing on just one small good thing is more than enough to help you reset and begin again.
I really love that advice. And honestly, I think building hope is remarkably similar to the process of learning the English language. You don't suddenly wake up fluent overnight after studying once. Reading one grammar page or listening to one podcast episode won't instantly make you a fluent speaker. But if you show up consistently, keep listening, keep practicing, and keep believing in your progress, one day you will look back and be amazed by how far you've come. Hope works in that exact same cumulative way. Small moments build a big life.
That comparison is spot on, John. Hope isn't something passive that we sit around waiting for. It's something active that we choose to notice when we slow down enough to look around.
Speaking of looking around and learning, I think I hear the clock ticking, which means it's time for my absolute favorite part of the entire podcast.
I knew that was coming. You look forward to this part every single week, don't you?
I really do, Sarah. You know me so well. It's time to explore some super useful high-level vocabulary that our listeners can start using right away. This is where passive words turn into active, everyday English skills. Today, we've picked out 5 rich B2 to C1 level vocabulary words. They might sound advanced or fancy at first, but native English speakers use them all the time in real, natural conversations. Are you ready to go through them, Sarah?
I'm totally ready. Let's jump into the first word. What is it?
Our very first word today is resilient. R-E-S-I-L-I-E-N-T. A resilient person is someone who is able to quickly recover from difficult, stressful, or painful situations. They don't simply give up or quit when they face failure or obstacles. For example, you could say, she is an incredibly resilient person. Even after losing her job unexpectedly, she stayed positive and worked hard to start a successful new career. Honestly, I think every single language learner tuning into this podcast is inherently resilient because picking up a new language takes serious patience and courage.
That is such a great point. Our second word for today is perspective. Perspective. Perspective refers to the particular way you see, think about, or understand a situation. Very often in life, simply changing your perspective can completely transform how you feel about a problem. For example, traveling to different countries gave me a whole new perspective on life and culture. So today, instead of looking at your language journey and saying, I'm so far behind, you could change your perspective and say, I am making steady progress every day. That shift in perspective changes everything.
I love that example so much, Sarah. Our third word today is a truly beautiful one, serendipity. S-E-R-E-N-D-I-P-T-Y. Serendipity means finding something wonderful, valuable, or pleasant completely by accident or luck, a happy surprise that you were not looking for at all. For example, it was pure serendipity that we randomly sat next to each other on the train and became lifelong best friends. Or finding an amazing, cozy cafe while you were completely lost in a new city. Life definitely needs more serendipity.
It really does. Our fourth word today is solace. S-O-L-A-C-E. Solace means finding comfort, peace, or relief during a dark, sad, or difficult time. You can find solace in many different things. In a deep conversation with a friend, in beautiful music, in spending time in nature, or even in a quiet evening walk. For example, after a long and stressful week at work, she found solace in listening to calm music in her garden. I really feel like our goal with today's episode was to help our listeners find solace in ordinary, everyday moments.
That was beautifully put, Sarah. And our fifth and final word for today is illuminate. I-L-L-U-M-I-N-A-T-E. Literally, to illuminate something means to shine a bright light on it so it can be seen clearly. But in a conversation, we often use it figuratively to mean making an idea much clearer to understand, or describing how a person's warmth makes a room or a day feel brighter. For example, her bright smile illuminated the whole room the moment she walked in. Or, that insightful book really illuminated my understanding of human nature.
What a fantastic list of words. Let's do a super quick review together so our listeners can lock them into their memories. Resilient, strong enough to recover from tough times without giving up. Perspective, the specific angle or mindset you use to view a situation. Serendipity, a wonderful, unexpected, happy surprise or accident. Solace, a feeling of comfort, calm, and peace during hard times. Illuminate, to bring light, clarity, or understanding to something.
Fantastic job. Those are 5 incredible words that will immediately elevate your English vocabulary and make you sound much more natural and expressive when you speak.
Absolutely. But before we sign off today, we want to leave you with one final thought to carry with you throughout your week. Please remember that a good life isn't built solely out of giant milestones or massive achievements. It is constructed day by day out of quiet mornings, relaxed evenings, spontaneous laughter, warm conversations, and tiny moments of beauty that far too often go completely unnoticed.
If today feels particularly heavy or difficult for you, please don't pressure yourself to find some huge, life-changing reason to feel hopeful. Just look around your immediate environment for one tiny reason to smile. A hot cup of tea, a sweet text message from a friend, a beautiful view out your window, or simply the empowering knowledge that you are learning, growing, and becoming a stronger person every single day.
Hope doesn't always have to shout at the top of its lungs. Sometimes hope is a quiet whisper at the end of the day saying, try again tomorrow. So please, slow down today, take a deep breath, look around you, and don't let these beautiful small moments pass you by without being appreciated. I'm Sarah.
And I'm John. You've been listening to the English Daily Podcast. Thank you so much for choosing to spend a part of your day with us. Keep listening, keep practicing your English, keep growing as a person, and never stop looking for hope in the little things around you.
And always remember, your English language goals and your personal life goals are both much closer than you think. We can't wait to see you again in our next episode. Take care, everyone.